Welcome to Trek Table, your Sunday weekly podcast holding Trek space for
Black, Indigenous, Brown,
women of color,
queer or otherwise,
and our allies. Yes, I am your host, Dayla, and today I am holding Trek space for Burnham and all the folks who are actualizing their new truths.
And hello, I am your co-host, Claudia, and I am holding Trek space for Hidden Figures.
Ooh.
I'm your co-host, Maya, and I'm holding Trek space for the collectivity and the healing process.
Hi, I'm your co-host, Maya Mama, and I'm holding Trek space for the end, but also the beginning.
Yes, and welcome to the Trek Table, everybody. We start by not only acknowledging who or what we're holding Trek space for, but we also want to acknowledge that our teams for the Trek Table are on the unceded lands of the Tongva, the Chumash, the Quiche, the Ohlone, the Puyallup, Pawtucket, and Massachusetts peoples. We're grateful to the Indigenous stewards of these lands, the ancestors who have come before, those who are here now, and those who have yet to come. And we invite you, those of you listening and watching us, to understand and connect to and acknowledge the lands that you are all on. Yeah? So let's go ahead and breathe that in. Take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth.
Thank you all for joining us today as we hold Trek space for women of color here in front of our live digital audience on Outside In Theater's YouTube channel, as well as those of you that are listening on our podcast archive.
Our opening track for this episode is titled "Guys" by the band Quetzal off their album Quetzal. You'll be hearing several tracks by them throughout the episode of Trek Table. Follow them at Quetzal Music on Instagram and see our show notes or the chat for a link to their merchandise and more.
Yes, thank you. We want to say thank you to the band Quetzal. You've been an amazing collaborator this whole season of Trek Table. And we want to welcome everybody to this episode 31 of the Trek Table. We are here. We are counting down this final episode of season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, episode 14. We're talking today about Such a Sweet Sorrow Part 2. And I will just say this is the episode that I have waited for as a Discovery fan. I continue to wait for the end of the season. We get to see all of the things with Michael's arc. We get to see her finally kind of take a breath and step into who she is. We've got a great episode for you today here on the Trek Table. We're going to finish our deep dive, as I've been saying, about Star Trek Discovery Season 2 finale, Such Sweet Sorrow Part 2. And we're going to share insights on Burnham, Culber, Spock, Georgiou, and more. We're going to revisit all the space battles, the time travel, and these badass women we've fallen in love with all season. We're going to talk a little bit about social justice in space, and hopefully some nanobot kink and more.
We're so glad that you're joining this BIWOC Trek conversation. Hello and welcome. We want to invite different voices into our conversation. So let's build together. How do you enter this conversation as Star Trek fans? Are you a Star Trek curious, a newbie, an OG Trekkie, Star Trekking family, Star Trek femme, Trek zaddy, Trek baby? Let us know in the chat.
Yes, and we are here on the Trek Table, episode 31, as we dig into this Star Trek Discovery Season 2, episode 14. We're going to explore this episode today in a couple of different ways, the ways we almost always do. We've got Trek Table questions. We're going to play a little bit of popcorn recap. Maya Mama is going to take us through all of the drama of Discovery design. Maya Chinchi is here with Space Runway. We're going to braid it all together in thematics. You know we're going to do one last spoiler zone. We got signal boost, final thoughts, and of course, gratitude. We're so excited that you all are joining us today. And as we continue this practice to get into and talking about this episode, we just want to do one more final part of our practice, 2 more parts. We want to introduce who's here at this table, and then we're going to make these agreements. All right. So I want to invite our hosts to go around, share your name, your pronouns, your visual description, any access check-in, and finally, how do you enter as a Star Trek fan? Maya Mama, since you sent us off with that question at the break, can I ask you to go first?
Yes, I am Maya Mama. Ooh, pardon me. I'm a young-looking, middle-aged black woman. I'm wearing a blue Star Trek disco shirt. I have some pink sparkly makeup and red lipstick. And I am from a Star Trek generational family, and I identify as poly sci-fi.
Okay, Maya, can I ask you to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Maya. Go by she, her, hers. I'm a Guatemalan mestiza with shades of purple hair. And my access check-in today, I'm just being gentle and, present in the present moment. I watched Next Generation, when it came out as a kid, but I would say I wasn't a total fan until disco really drew me back in and has allowed me to explore my Star Trek femme identity and my sci-fi curiosity.
Awesome. Welcome. Claudia, can I invite you to go next?
Hi, yes, hello. I'm Claudia. Gender pronouns they, their, or you can also use she, hers. My visual description is I'm an African American woman with a big brown afro wearing my red Star Trek shirt that has like rainbow streaks for like its dilithium is made out of acceptance of the LGBTQ community, and I'm also sitting in I'm sitting on the deck of the original Star Trek, and my access check-in is I am disabled, so that means I will sometimes pull a face or my body might move in a dramatic way. Generally, it's not a Star Trek opinion that I'm pulling a face at. I'm pulling a face because one of my muscles is pulling me, but I got a lot of ice packs and different cushions, so I'm here with you and I'm excited about today's show. And I identify as generational Star Trek. I got it from my mama and I'm spreading it to all the nieces and nephews. And polyamorous sci-fi. I like them all of them.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you. And I will go last. Hi, everybody. I'm Dela. My pronouns are she, he, they, and Dela. Visually, I'm a mixed Filipinx person with a bunch of curly hair in the center of my head, shaved hair sides. My hair on top has got some blue going on, but you can't always see it on the video. I identify as a Trek fan, minutia-loving Trek head. I've been Next Generation fan since it started, and I have a really great story about that one time I got to sit in a USS Enterprise shuttlecraft, so I look forward to one day having that story be told. Definitely sci-fi poly. I got all the love for Farscape and Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, all the things, but first and foremost, I am a Trek fan, Trek head, and I am hardcore disco fan, and so I'm just so glad that we got to do this show. We're getting to do this show because I'm so excited about Star Trek Discovery. It is my primary sci-fi relationship right now. So that's how I will identify. All right. So our final bit of business before we jump into our discussions is we always want to make some agreements as we get into these conversations, because sometimes people want to disagree about Star Trek, and we support that, but we want to do that in an environment that supports people having a conversation. So we want to name these Trek Table agreements. We want to welcome all who enter, whether you're a newbie or raised in a Star Trekking family. Welcome. Let's build this space together.
Whether you use Trek Table as your nerdy exploration or as a part of your self-care ritual, Trek Table is a weekly space to put down the world for a second and come into Trek space.
This is a space for Black, Brown, Indigenous women of color to be a fan, a geek, a nerd, and explore the vastness of the Star Trek multiverse.
Trek Table is also a place for allies to come, engage, and explore as well. This is an opportunity for allies to hold space and focus on insights, perspectives, and experiences that we may not be familiar with.
And now that we are all here, we remind you that we seek to build an environment of mutual respect and listening. We understand we'll disagree, and that is actually part of the fun, but there's enough hate going out there in the world. So please keep your phasers on stun.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and breathe in all those agreements. Go ahead and take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Thank you.
And that brings us to our first Trek Table question posed to our Trek Table assembled here and those participating in the Outside In YouTube channel chat. What was your favorite badass battle moment of this episode? So we are back with the Trek Table question number 1. Favorite badass battle moment for this final season of season 2, because there was a lot of cool battles going on. And this can be, y'all, I'm going to give you permission. This can be rhetorical battle, physical battle, ship-to-ship battle, hand-to-hand battle. I'm here for all the badass battle moments. Hey, Maya, what'd you like?
Wow. Now I'm thinking about all the internal struggles and battles. But the one that first popped to mind was Giorgio and Leland dancing on the ceiling. Basically, battling on the ceiling. And they were getting all their yayas out, right? Like pulling on each other's hair.
Yeah. And all the gravity going on and off. So they're fighting up, they're fighting down, side to side. Oh, that was exciting. Yes. Maya Mama. Favorite badass battle moment?
My favorite badass battle moment is Culber's badass battle for the one he loves. The battle of the heart.
Is there a specific moment, though?
You make me feel like Stamets dying on this table, getting saved by Culber.
Totally.
Explosions, and it's like, you're going to be okay. It's really
You're my home.
Such a novella ending there. But yeah.
Come on.
Right.
All right, Maya Mama. All right. Kayla, favorite battle moment?
Several have been named, but I will say it's like that last moment when Burnham is like flying up as the Red Angel and Discovery is behind her, and like Pike says like, don't let anything, like put a cocoon around them. And just, I don't know if I'm mixing two things, because I've seen so much footage so many times, but just, I love that. Let me say this. I do love the part where Burnham launches herself into space in Spock's shuttle wake, and she is just in her spacesuit, angel suit, flying through space like a superhero, trying not to die from debris. And I really love that Burnham is always in a spacesuit, like she's out in space, and like, yeah, that's my favorite part. I mean, yeah, I have others, but yes, sorry. You would think I didn't know. I hadn't watched the show, but there's so many things right now. But I'm like, yeah, Burnham flying. That's my favorite.
Oh, yes. And like how she was fully freaked out, but then she like caught it. And I was like, oh, I'm seeing her and her power. Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, I'm going to do another battle moment that I loved, which was, I was really into like the swift battle prep, like how everybody was moving, and it was just like, here, Stamets, I needed this, you're going to do that. And they were like going in and out of each other. And I was just like, oh, I got very excited. So I was here for the badass battle prep, actually. Yes. Mm-hmm. And that was Trek Table question number 1 for this final episode of season 2.
Mm-hmm. Trek Table is a proud part of the digital theater platform at Outside In Theater. Like and subscribe to the Outside In YouTube channel for our weekly live digital recordings. Are you listening to our podcast? Check out youtube.com/Outside In Theater. We love them.
And with that song Matanzas and some external sound cues, that means it is time for us to play Popcorn Recap. The game is simple. We have 2.5 minutes to share chunklets of plot from this week's episode.
Today we are talking about Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 14, Such Sweet Sorrow Part 2, written by Michelle Paradise and Jenny Lumet and Alex Kurtzman, and directed by Olatunde Osunsanmi.
And we think it's funny because I'm essentially a Star Trek newbie. Claudia and Maya Mama come from a generational Star Trek family, and Dela loves the minutia. Can we get it done?
Rachel, please set 2.5 minutes on the timer. Come on, finale. Let's recap this. Go.
Okay, so everybody on the Enterprise and the Discovery, they're working to build Michael's angel suit and then charging the time crystal. And then Saru and Giorgio bond over Sun Tzu. And Section 31 ships come to attack. And then they have like thousands of drones.
Oh my gosh. And then Queen Pole, she stole a shuttle and then she studied the drones and their lattice shield design. They must be attacked in twos. Pike agrees. Also diplomatic immunity. Follow the queen.
And meanwhile, they've been doing all this stuff to the time suit. It's totally finished and done. And so what Michael and Spock are going to do, they're preparing to launch. And Spock is going to protect Michael from the shuttle. And she's like, no, don't do that. But he's like, don't worry, I'm going to get on Discovery. As soon as we're done, as soon as you open up the wormhole, I'll go back. And so they touch hands, Vulcan style. Oh.
Then sickbay is overloaded. Dr. Pollard asks for help. Stamets is seriously injured and is cared for by Culber. He returned from the Enterprise because love.
And then Ash Tyler has returned with the Klingon fleet to assist in the battle. Chancellor Laurel fights awesome. Her big cleave ship. Serana the Kelpian sister arrives with all the Baowu fighters and the Kaminoan warriors after receiving the sweet farewell message from Saru.
Burnham realizes that this is the moment she started the signals from, and they have been in an open loop with the 5 signals. Spock advises a logical leap of faith. She should set the 5 now.
Totally. And meanwhile, on the Enterprise, it totally got hit by like a torpedo, right? And it was like a Section 31 torpedo, but it didn't detonate. So number 1 and Cornwall, they leave the bridge because nobody else can fix it.
And then on the Discovery, Tilly fixes Zone 4 shields while blindfolded, just like in a drinking game.
Mm-hmm. And Control, or Leela Troll, has beamed on the Discovery and has shot his way into the lab on the left of the bridge. And then Giorgio and Nan try to go make screen, and Nan's like, yum, yum. And then the fight scenes of the hallways with no gravity because it broke. And then 2 people went out the ceiling.
Oh, and then Pike places at number 1 and tries to fix the torpedo, and they can't, and Pike's willing to die, but she says, yo, this is not how your story ends. There, and she knows it, and he knows it. And then Cornwall sacrifices her life after sealing off the surrounding area.
Right, so then Leland is totally defeated when Giorgio magnetizes the nanites on his body.
Red
and she's like,
Angel!
Red Angel!
Wait, why? How did we not?
We pulled in the Red Angel cue.
Luckily,
Go.
we knew. Okay, so we've got an extra 30 seconds. Leland's defeated when Giorgio magnetizes the nanites all over his body because she said that she was going to take him apart piece by piece, and I love it when a plan comes together. Now the Section 31 fleet can be fully exploded.
Then Spock's shuttle is damaged and he can't go to Discovery. Said goodbyes, but she has a balance. She advises him to find a friend that is different from him.
Burnham and Disco go 930 years into the future. She'll set the 7th signal.
And Enterprise and Ash lie to the Faceless Command and tell Starfleet Discovery was destroyed and in the battle. Never speak of it again.
And 7th signal appears.
Can I call that? I want to call this Red Angel again.
I recognize we called the Red Angel so that we would have enough time. But we don't know how many times Burnham went through that never-ending time loop of the 5 signals before they figured out what those last 2 should be. So who knows? We probably need to do this episode 3 or 4 more times to do it. But do we get to do go backs? We missed a couple of cool things that happened. Can I say one more thing? One more? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pike blames Section 31 for all of this mess, and then for some reason Ash Tyler is now the head of Section 31.
Because everybody's dead. That's what the guy said. Sorry. Last chunklets.
Yeah, that's absolutely why. And then Spock says, erase all the information. Don't tell nobody. And Spock's parents are like, shh, we'll never talk about him. And then Amanda kisses her son.
Yes. And then I think one of the last plot points is Spock comes to comfort with the fact that his sister has gone. He shaves his beard just in time to walk onto the bridge of the USS Enterprise, be recognized for the Spock we know, and then her 7th signal arrives. Dun, dun, dun. All right. We did pretty good. And yes, we did invoke the special red angel card. Thank you, Rochelle Wasserman, our OBS programmer and operator, for creating that amazing digital asset. Thank you so much. If you're listening on the podcast, we really want to invite you to watch this episode on YouTube. You got to see this amazing thing that Rochelle built for us. So we want to say thanks. And if you want a more detailed, orderly version of the recap, we honor that. You can go visit our friends at Women at Warp. We're going to drop this link in the chat or the episode notes, and you can check out how they tied up this episode.
And if you're having a good time, let's keep this dialogue going. Like and follow us on Instagram at TrekTable and on Twitter at TrekTable_table. No, Trek_table. So many tables. Bring them all together at the Trek Table.
Welcome to Discovery Design. Let's dish on the design elements that gave us all the drama this episode. So I've got some topics and I'm going to read them off and then I will invite you guys to go off. So let's start with those drones, those modular design ships. They were very tiny, thousands of them. What do y'all think?
I'll just weigh in and say I'm a gigantic fan of modular design. I love something that can be one thing and many things. I love a couch that can be like 3 chairs. So I like the efficiency of the design that Section 31 has going on.
Sectionals for Section 31. Yeah,
Right.
I like it.
Drones.
Okay, what about those battle scenes? Like all those cool camera angles, almost as if we were watching like cameras in space whipping around. Any thoughts on those?
Ooh, just so many explosions. So many explosions.
All the explosions, all the colors.
And I really appreciate like the massiveness of this battle. Like in watching this episode, I felt like we had 2 battles. It was like the battle before the Klingons and the Kelpians arrived, and then like the battle that's happening there. So yeah, I'm here for all the angles, and I appreciate that, Claudia, you pointed out weeks ago, like, yeah, there's all this Alice in Wonderland spinning upside down camera angle work that's happening, and like now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. I see it all the time, and I see how they're using it to like get us in and out of scenes. It's super awesome.
Lots of
and
spins.
the adrenaline and just like what's gonna happen. Oh my goodness, be careful, but work together. And it just, also those little tiny drones, I was like, get out of here. Like,
well, and it
everywhere.
is that time of year. It's that time of year where we are constantly trying to get rid of those butterflies anyway. Now, the visualizations of time travel, of like being like through that portal, all those sparks and explosions, and Dr. Burnham was right. She says that time travel is not for the weak. Anything you guys would like to share about thoughts for that?
Well, those were real sparks, partially. Those weren't just only CGI. I think they had I'm sure that wasn't actual sparklers. I'm sure that people who worked on the show had professional things. In my imagination, though, they just had like a handful of sparklers that they had next to the actress's face, and it was freaking her out. But I love that they had a practical design element in there. I think it really made, I think you can feel her feeling like there were sparks near her face.
Yeah, and it just makes you think, like, what does that suit have to be made out of? The different levels, like what, all of that for it to just not disintegrate, because we've seen bodies disintegrate in space. So, yeah, it must be a little bit warm, maybe. I don't know. I'm wondering about that.
Yeah, who knows? Well, and then that wormhole, that dimension change, where the whole world sort of got all flat sand laid in.
Ooh,
that was. Like a drop in a pool. It just looked so cool. Dela, you
and we're getting
notes.
and I really appreciate that we're getting these different dimensions, and then we get Burnham in all these positions, just to go back to all the images we saw throughout the season where we were trying to unpack who's the Red Angel, and you have all these drawings from Spock or all these images. And so I really appreciate that we got to see all those things finally deliver and map out on the screen.
The last observation I have around like time travel and design is that time travel is a thing in Star Trek, and they have all kinds of different types of time travel depending on the episode and the iteration of Star Trek you're watching. But it felt like they were doing some design callbacks. They were actually referencing other things that we have witnessed when we're seeing a Starfleet ship fly through space. It felt like I was getting flavors of other time traveling starships.
Very interesting. I like it. So now, I have a question for the panel here, and that question is, how big is the inside of the Discovery? Because it seems real big. Like, what's going on inside of there? Like, that's
yeah.
You see that?
You mean the turbo lift operational section is as big as Mary Poppins' travel carpet bag?
Yeah.
Well, y'all have seen the back end
of that.
Y'all have seen the back end of Discovery, though. We got that really sexy shot like last episode or 2 episodes ago where it's like, there are big, gigantic ships coming in and out of that a whole bunch. It seems gigantic to me.
Spock and Burnham launched from Shuttle Bay 6, I believe. That's what they said.
Oh, so there's at least 6 shuttle bays.
And there are 2 sick bays. We know that as well. At least 2 sick bays. So it actually probably is a pretty big size ship. We just
and how many decks?
We just don't think of it when we're in the infrastructure.
That's a
Did
good
they talk
question.
about the number of decks ever? I feel like I'm only like paying attention more so because there's a show now, Lower Decks. So, but like holodeck, like how many decks are there? Yeah.
Yes. Well, to change the subject, and I apologize to change that I have to, but that unexploded warhead.
On the Enterprise, yeah.
Now, I found that that was very frightening. Now, that view looks like that's a view from a vision that 2 different people had. Now, that has nothing to do with design. I just want to go ahead and mention.
Well, but the vision is partially. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to interrupt. So for our audience that's listening, we are seeing a visual, a clip from the show. But the clip from the show is showing them having a vision of the thing happening before it really happened.
Yes, and that doesn't have anything to do with design. I do want to say, though, design-wise, it was a really interesting. You could... Any layman watching could see like a gauge of how bad things were getting. And it still held the same aesthetic of the original series. Claudia, what do you think?
Well, I'm recalling other episodes where we've seen, like, I'm thinking of like Voyager and characters being near. Like, I just feel like I'm actually really used to this piece of danger where the thing has hit the ship and now you got to get rid of the thing it's about to explode. And what do you do? It feels like classic Star Trek.
Yeah, that classic. You get and those post World War II like submarine sounds, the whistles and those things that are all a part of that feeling. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I recognize those right away because I feel like they're more subtle on Discovery, but once we got back onto the Enterprise and Pike comes onto the bridge, it just like those little background effects just really bring me back to the original series in a very like visceral way.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for this conversation, and that that was all our time for Discovery Design.
Awesome. If you are enjoying this conversation and you want to get to know us more, if you're not already, check out our website at thetrektable.com. We're about to do some updates in the next few weeks, some exciting new developments. So stay tuned and follow us for sure.
And as we head into our next musical break, we're going to share with you Trek Table question number 2. Which funny moment or quote from this episode did you enjoy the most? I'm pretty sure the showrunners know that we like some quotable Star Trek. So here we are, Star Trek question number 2. What was the funny moment or quote that you enjoyed from this episode the most? Because I feel like they were just giving us a bunch of presents. And some of those were lines where it's just like, you're not going to see this character for a while. Here, we're going to give you a little something. So, Dela, what was your favorite? Ooh. Wait, do I hear a piece of music? I hear a piece of music. I'm just going to pause and boogie to this. And then, all right, and now I'm going to come. It's a little Pavlovian. I couldn't help myself. I had to start doing some dancing. So here we are, Trek Table question number 2. What funny moment or quote did you love the most, Dela? What was a funny moment that you liked the most?
I have several. I'm going to honor that other people after me might say them as well. But I think right now my favorite part is Giorgio standing outside of the spore cube. It's already magnetized. And she says to Leland, "You will scream now." That is my one of my favorite moments of the show. And just her giddy giggle. It's so many things.
It's dark but funny. Okay. All right, Maya. Yeah, I laughed out loud. I laughed out loud when I was like, she fully said she was going to do this, and she did it. That's follow through. Dark follow through. Maya Mama, what was your favorite funny moment?
Okay, so my favorite funny moment, I love Tig, and when Burnham asks if she can rush it along, and and just the way that she's like, no. Like, it's literally not possible. No, physics. I'm not going to do that.
Like the laws of physics?
Yeah. It was just like, no. And because we're so used to an engineer that over-exaggerates. And I guess we got Jet Reno who does not.
Maya? I know that you had several funny moments that you could share. I'm down for you to share all of them. What were funny moments that you thought were good?
Okay. I can't share them all, but I really, I love the moment with Dr. Pollard responding back to Saru. She's like, "I need help. Is there anybody else who can come down here? So many wounded people." And he's like, "Well, no, do your best." And she's like, "No, I'm just going to do a half-ass job because now's the perfect time to do that," right? And it was like great because she says it and she's still handling the business, She's still going to do an awesome job.
Also, frankly, that was I've had that inner monologue. I have had that inner monologue where someone's been like, "Okay, you try hard." And I'm just like, "No, I'm not going to. Only because you told me to."
Right, yeah. And who says that I'm not already trying hard? So, and then, oh my God, Giorgio, when he hails the fleet. Oh no, when Leland hails the fleet. Oh my God, that was the best one where Giorgio says, "Leland, we were just talking about you. Everybody hates you. Congratulations."
I love that.
Which, I love it because she's to your face. She'll say these things to your face. She's not talking about you behind your back.
Well, nobody disagreed.
No.
It's true. It's true. I'm only just now in this moment now realizing that she had her feelings hurt by Control. I think Control got under her skin and she was like, "You got under my skin. I'm going to get so under your skin that you're going to not have any skin ever again."
That's an interesting thought to see, like, why. I mean, I don't know. Why is it because they were going after Michael? Is it because she doesn't like, his his basic, bitch
Well,
girlness or what?
Well, no, I think that he actually got under her skin. He got into her head. Like, he said some stuff that made her almost sell out everyone. She was gonna do it. I think Control's actually a pretty good reader, folks. It's just that Giorgio is a really badass person. I will say that my favorite funny moment was when she and Nan were bantering about the grossness and nastiness of like what he was, and like Nan is just like, ew. And I was like, you just mean girled Control in the best way ever. I would never want to be on the bad side of Giorgio and Nan together. They would destroy you.
Yes.
With just like a couple of mean jokes.
Yeah. Can I say one more? I thought someone was going to say it, but
Yes.
Jet Reno saying to Saru, "Get off my ass, sir." Sir, get off my ass, sir.
I know that we can keep going in this section. This is a fun section. I might ask this question again in the future. But for now, that brings us to a close for our Trek Table question number 2.
Yes, and we want to say, hey, podcast listeners, we want to invite you to jump in here. Let us know what your favorite funny of this episode was. You can go ahead and tweet us at Trek_table and consider adding hashtag TT31 to let us know it was this episode 31. Thanks so much, podcast listeners.
And now is the point in our show when we dance break. We are now heading into Space Runway. Space Runway.
Some of the eye-catching looks from function to fashion in the 23rd century. Space runway.
Welcome to Space Runway. This week, we are doing highlights from Season 2, Episode 14. And there are 7 looks today. Starting with look number 7, Queen of Brains. The queen is ready to share her genius in shades of like earthy browns and jewel tones. Here we see her in a cropped leather vest with jagged blue stones sewn to the trim, turquoise gem in the middle of her chest, hair flowing with her beautiful waves, and a burgundy textured top, short skirt, and triangular pouch. So many great details over leather pants and knee-high boots. This brilliant young queen has a taste for spumoni and plays by her own rules, including outlawing snark, because she can. Look number 6. Doctor, give me the juice. I got a bad case of loving all of yous.
Yes.
So many doctors in sick bay all of a sudden. Now, we've thrown so much love to Cobra because he always looking good. But look at this staff. Women in white in the forefront, calling out orders, handling the chaos as only women of color can. Come on.
Look number 5. The suit is ready.
It took so many hands to engineer this suit, and here it stands on its own, ready to take Burnham and us on a journey of a lifetime or 2.
Look number 4. Women take the wheel. Una and Lieutenant Ammon.
Yes, 2 women at the helm in their original series gold uniform tops with a Discovery twist. Check those shoulders for those pipings. Pikes number 1, Una, with her raven hair sprayed and tucked shiny waves. And Lieutenant Amin with a flattering, no-nonsense updo.
Look number 3. The cavalry's here. Serana is back.
Looks like as soon as all the Kelpians pass through their second puberty or the change, Serana and the crew train all the Kelpians to fly. Here she comes as part of the cavalry in a cream-colored hoodie and brown vest, ready to blast some guys. I mean, blast those drones.
Look number 2. The Queen, Laurel.
Y'all, Laurel never disappoints. It's a good day to die in mega metal shoulder pads. What?
Right?
It is.
Always.
It
Love
is.
me some Laurel. And look number 1. The look we've all been waiting for. Spock. After his big sister's pep talk, he's ready to shed all his in black emo teen rebel phase. The scruffy beard is gone. His bangs got a Vulcan trim. And he finally dons the blue uniform we know and love as he takes his place back on the Enterprise, ready to make new friends. And that's Space Runway this week. Thanks, nerds, for indulging me in space fashion talk, fashion, form, and function in the future.
Yes, and welcome to the thematic section of our Trek table where we want to braid it all together. We've had a chance to dive into some insights in design, both in fashion and in technical. We've had some reflections and questions to think about in terms of our favorite quotes, funny funnies, as well as the badass battles. So we want to come in here to thematics and just like do this wrap. So we've come to the end of this epic season. I really love this season, as I've been saying. And I really, really just want to say how much I love watching Burnham process and then actually actualize. Also, I want to say so much love. Space Poppy Hugh affirms his home with Space Daddy Paul. We get that really beautiful reunion where, Wilson Cruz always looks like an angel. Come on now, Rent. We also see in this final battle, the fruits of the season come together as the party is joined by the Klingons and the Kaminar warriors as they arrive as the cavalry. We also get hints of this nanobot kink, some sadomasochism notes from Giorgio and Leela Troll. We get the pew-pew battles and a big hand-to-hand battle with the big level boss. So much this episode. And then Burnham is just like the Red Angel, all flying magnificent in space. So there's so much to talk about as we braid this all together for this episode. So we don't have to talk about the whole season, but I would love us to just check in. We finally now see all the elements of time travel. We get to see the beautiful suit. It is now done. It took all those people. They had to what did they call it? Boil down a bulkhead in order to cast the metal for the external of the suit. So we get a lot of things. We also see how this folds into Burnham's arc and her actualizing to be the Red Angel. And I think our question is she Red Angel number 2? Or is this now, is her suit a different color angel? Because the suit is actually not red. It's just the burst. And then just really thinking that, she's a second generation time traveler, universe saver. Like Mama Burnham has set the math in accord. And I'm going to excuse a little bit of the Spock mansplaining right there at the end when she goes to set up on that suit. So let's talk a little bit about time travel, the function of it. Maya Mama, I know you led us in Discovery Design about some of the elements of this, but I'm wondering, you want to talk a little bit about thematically, story-wise, what are you getting out of this time travel moment?
So what I really like about this is really, the circular way that the story has been told. Because she's actually the only Red Angel for the most part. We didn't see Gabrielle Burnham. Gabrielle Burnham was doing things behind the scenes. The only person who saw her was Spock, little baby Spock. So there is actually only one Red Angel, and that is Michael Burnham. They just thought that she was, but yeah.
Let's go. Is that positionality? Maya Chinchilla, your thoughts on the time travel this episode? Maybe Poppy Hugh, Poppy Colbert, Poppy Stamets. Like, where are you in this time travel episode?
Oh my gosh. I think I've always dreamed of time travel. I don't know, some shows make it look super easy. Here, it took so much just to figure out how it's going to happen. Just even the wording around second generation, like that idea of being passed down something from your elder, how you kind of share that and make it your own. That really resonated with me right now as we're talking about it. But also I've been thinking a lot about trauma, and I was watching this documentary that features Gabor Mate, a doctor who thinks really deeply about trauma. And so, that separation from her family, the new family, the being, all of that changed her brain and gives her also extra perspective, right? And then also, in Colbert, he's also experienced a pretty heavy trauma and that's changed him. and he'll never be the same. And it's not really something that they absolutely need to forget or get over, but it is something they have to deal with, and face. And it is really beautiful to see how the relationships help all of these characters get through that. Like, it's not something, even though there are times when somebody's being a hero, right? Burnham's kind of has her heroic moments, but all of them they can't be the heroes they are without each other. And also Culber, he's heroically going to save his love, and they never lost any love for each other. They just really needed to kind of shift and be different, apart. And so, I think that that this is part of like why we love it. It's a little bit of human experience and our own processes, but in a fantastic spacesuits in outer space with extra tools that some of us wish we could have, like healing little stuff that we could just inject.
Tricorders.
Go to sleep for a little bit. Get better.
Totally. And I feel like that's a great transition. All the things we wish we could have in our 21st century world. Claudia, your thoughts on this season finale and time travel and all the loops that got closed? Where are you at?
Well, Maya, your comments inspire me. I was just yesterday reading an essay on Crip time as time travel, the disabled experience as one of being in a different kind of relationship to time and relationship to others through time. So I love the way you're commenting on trauma, and it feels like in many ways Discovery is allowing us to have a Star Trek that's allowing us to process trauma as well. I feel like Deep Space Nine helped me experience trauma. Discovery's letting me actually process through it. And I'll also say I love a time travel story. Some people use time travel so lazy. They use this like narrative fix-it-up glue, so you can only watch the story once, and then it doesn't work anymore. It only works on one viewing. And this is a TV show, and they put a lot of effort and money and design into it, and also it's Star Trek, so it better be good on the rewatch, and this one is. What I do love is that it opens me up to an entire spin-off of headcanon, because as Maya Mama said, we don't know the time travel shenanigans that Michael Burnham's mother was doing. She changed the universe and the world how many times, failing to beat control. And it's only this last iteration where she made the sphere data hit Michael that we're experiencing a story. So all we see is the time loop that Michael had been doing, the 5 signals of that time loop. I gotta say, I love it. Oh, wait, Maya Mama, Star Trek fight? What's going on?
No, I agree with you, because she says to Michael, I've watched you die 1,000 times.
Yes.
And that's why she's so cold and detached, because she's watched how the timeline is moving and what doesn't work and what is working. There's a reason why the ship was called over to the sphere data, all of that stuff, and that was all her. So yeah, really, that would be cool to watch.
Well, and then just the way that they were, and I'm going to use this as a launch point to get us into topic number 2, because like this is that moment of we don't know how long Mama Burnham has been out there, but we also get this moment of like that Michael doesn't, like, she finally knows what she knows. We know as much as they let us as an audience know certain things, I was appreciative that we had to wait until that moment. And this is the bridge to topic number 2, because we get a lot of Burnham and Spock's arc resolution. We've been waiting since episode 1 of season 2 to see Spock. And here we are at the finale, and watching Spock and Burnham have quality adult sibling time, watching Spock be able to, tell her what she needs to know, and that they're going to protect each other, and here we go. So I'm all getting caught up in the sibling stuff. So topic number 2 is just building on this idea of canon, and building on the way that we've talked offline about how there's all these shenanigans on this show to help us connect to like sweet Star Trek Easter eggs. And so I just want to open it up and say, let's talk a little bit about Burnham and Spock's arc, explaining the canon shenanigans, and now why we didn't know about Burnham and didn't know about Discovery. So I know we could go on and on. So I'm gonna go around real quick. Maya, what is your thoughts on topic number 2?
Well, just that also that time travel doesn't fix everything. Like we think that there's a quick fix. There's never a quick fix. But also, okay, that explains everything. We didn't know Spock had a black human trans species adoptee sister. It's because they had to forget. So to protect her, because she went to the future. All right. That's it.
Yes, I love it. Claudia, your thoughts on the Burnham Spock arc and the canon shenanigans?
Well, as a person who was introduced to the original Star Trek, like it was special, like it was a cultural special thing, I've actually been upset at every instance of a new Star Trek making itself and then disrespecting the choices of the people who came before. I'm like, why you gotta make the Klingons look different? Why you gotta make the Klingons look different? It turns out they have new designers for each iteration, and so they always have to make the Klingons look different. There are reasons. But this show, this season 2, it solves all my problems. It solves all my problems with, it's like, right, no holograms on the Enterprise. The Enterprise was new style, new sexy. And it feels like it's answering questions in a direct way that actually makes sense to me, and less of a just let it go. There's an amazing episode of Deep Space Nine where they go back in time to the original, and most of their stuff is hand wavium, where they're just like they're just like, we don't talk about it, just don't think about it. Moving on, we're not going to actually go through it. But in this one, they do explain things. That said, Sarek and Spock just like have an understanding that Sarek's just not going to is giving him space. Apparently, the entire father-son we're not talking to each other drama and rift was just a friendly, they actually resolved other stuff with Mike. I'm not sure about that one. So I have issues. I don't think that one line that Sarek says actually makes their incredibly long silent treatment make any kind of narrative sense. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
I appreciate it. Hey. I'm here for it. All right. Maya Mama, what do you have to say about this time travel topic number 2? Burnham and Spock's arc resolution. Where are you at? Happy that Amanda came to hug? I don't know.
That was kind of cute. I thought that was sweet. Like that gave, because generally speaking, that's the only time he shows like actual affection for his mother, which is something that she always got from Michael, but was not able to get from Spock. So that was like, I think, a kindness from him. Also, I don't think that Sarek and Spock's issues were resolved. I think that they just explained why he kept his distance. He says, I will keep my distance because that's what Spock wants, because Spock is not cool with him. And the thing is that it's sort of irrelevant what Sarek thought of him. It was mostly just like from Spock's point of view. Also, I'm really sad that the beard was gone, and I realize now that I have a type that I like broken men with beards.
Remember the episode where Spock's tusked hair had its own look? Like he finally got back in. I will just say I need to go back as I rewatch season 2 one more time and just. When did it all be cool that Spock never got back in uniform? Like, I know he was dealing with stuff, but the last couple episodes, I'm like, he's still being Lieutenant Spock, but he's not. I mean, I guess
he's in all that black leather and he looks good. I just think nobody wanted to tell him to change because he looks so good. They're like, yeah, he looks really good. I'm not going to say a thing. You're not going to say a thing.
So, all right. So we got into that. We're going to transition to topic 3, and we got into a little bit of like the canon shenanigans and like explaining the things. Just some quick fire responses. The end of Control. We got to enjoy some of that in our favorite battle conversations during Trek Table question number 2. But here we get Pike's storyline affirmed and confirmed. We get glimpses of the spinoff with Brave New Worlds. You have this shot that we're showing on screen from the previous episode where Tyler and Giorgio Giorgio and Pike are walking in the hallway, and it feels like a little bit of the nudgy nod to the Section 31 spin-off show that was going to come, that we're all waiting for. I know Brave New Worlds, right? They've been releasing collateral and trailers on that. So like that's coming. So we're going to get a lot of new Star Trek iterations. Star Trek Prodigy is starting this month in October. And then in November, we're going to get Disco Season 4. So lots of stuff going on, glimpses of spin-offs. Final thoughts here about the restoration of the different. I feel like, yes, the finale did what it needs to. We can exhale because the big baddie has been defeated in Control. Claudia, I know I just rambled a little bit, but thoughts on topic number 3 that you want to jump in here?
I got several thoughts because I'm looking at this show through 3 different lenses. One is if I was a character in the universe, then one is just as a viewer kind of accepting the universe as a real universe. And then as like a person who's like, what is this doing as storytelling? What is this doing as people who make TV? How does this work? So most of my favorite sci-fi shows generally have some point in their success where they're like, we're doing good enough that some of our stories could be more different stories. And then you have those weird, awkward episodes where you're like, you're setting up spinoffs. Like this wasn't a real episode. This was you doing there's an entire original Star Trek episode that set up a show that never happened, that had a magical cat and this guy named Gary, I think. It was pretty amazing. Anyway, this Discovery sets us up for so many different spinoffs, and it does it so smooth. It's as smooth as Spock's newly shaven face. It's so good. It's so good. So I was just really impressed with the way they were able to tie off story threads. They gave me a really satisfying conclusion to Cornwall. If we had any Cornwall stands out there, you have an entire arc that you can really get into. I'm kind of upset though, because now no more, cameos from that. Well, maybe they'll have some flashbacks or something. I like the actress, but yeah. Yeah. But just affirmation. Yes. This was well done. This was well done. And also this is season 2. They're pulling off some complex stuff for a season 2. Usually it shows in season 4 when it's trying to pull this off. Well done, Discovery.
Yes. I'm going to jump to you, Maya Mama. Quick thought on this topic. Okay. So actually, I'm not going to jump to you. I'm going to jump to the next topic because there's so much we could reflect on. I just want to say thank you, Claudia, for that reflection. And the thing I just want to say is I'm so glad that we see Hugh and Stamets make up. I'm glad that Hugh had his own journey and, he did get to leave and come back. And so I'm excited that we get them in season 3 and beyond, not to give a spoiler, but yeah, when Stamets got punctured the first time I saw this episode, I was like, is he about to die now? Is that what we're about to have? We finally got Hugh alive and now Stamets is about to die?
Bury your gays.
But they did not bury the gays. The gays continues to be a resurrection. Okay, anyways, last topic. This is the long thematics because we are at the end of this season. I'm just going to use showrunner privilege to say I have one last topic. I want to do some quick fire responses. This is me asking you as co-host a couple of little reflections on a couple of characters that we haven't necessarily touched hard on. All right, so Maya, I'm going to come to you first. Let's talk a little bit about Giorgio and that nanobot kink. Any closing thoughts on Giorgio and her ability to eliminate Leela Troll?
I mean, she's always a woman with a plan, and she's been paying attention, taking notes. She is not gonna, she does not say, she does not just let something go. She has been waiting for this moment, and I think the rest of us as well. That fight scene, and then just figuring out a way to pull those nanobots from his skin and just all of that. And then she comes from a planet that's based in fear, and also kind of Section 31 is also in that gray zone too. So they're just they working their stuff out on each other. And Giorgio ends up triumphant as always.
Excellent. Thank you. Claudia, I'm going to jump to you. Let's talk about Saru. How do you feel about Saru at the end of this episode? Lots of Saru-ness going on.
Oh, come on. Now, whenever you see Saru glide by, have you noticed he has a slick walk? He has a sexy walk. I love me some Saru. Saru was like this gentle, very nervous, nebbishy giant. And now Saru is badass. Don't get on Saru's bad side. Saru, after the change, he lost his ganglia, and now he's the kind of leader that makes bold choices, distinct choices. I love how he was surprised that his sister was the same. That was cute, where he was like, "Goodbye, sister. I'm telling you." It also felt like a very like patriarchal story beat, where you have like the brother telling the female family member, "I'm going to risk my life. You stay home and be safe." And she's like, "No, I showed up. Yeah, I'm down. I got all the bowel with me. Let's do this." So yeah, I am here for Saru's art. Where will it go next, though? That's my question. Where does it go after? Because he's like an adolescent. What happens to him when he's like an adult dude who's figured out all of his new post-Farrar high emotions?
With chest
Yes.
hair.
Yes. Do Kelpians have chest hair? That's a question we have. Hashtag it. All right. All right. So I'm going to jump to Maya Mama. Let's talk a little bit about Tilly. Tilly's had some great, what just happened lines. Like Tilly's had some great growth this episode, this season. You want to talk a little bit about Tilly?
I've loved watching Tilly become more self-reliant and more sure of herself. I love her honesty, even when some may find it frightening. But like the whole drinking game type stuff. But she is decisive. She is bold. She is smart, and she is competent. And I'm really glad to see it. I'm glad to see that growth from a shy student or cadet.
And I am never mad to watch a thick woman, even though Tilly's not as thick is, but in a Discovery said she's a thicker woman on that show, and she knows how to put on a tool belt and climb into that tube. So yes, Tilly, yes. All right, last topic in this, and then we're going to jump out to spoiler zone. Claudia, I want us to let's just put a final little pin on the man, the myth, the new leader of Section 31, Ashfolk Tyler. Can you talk a little bit about Ashfolk Tyler for us?
I can. I kind of wish I had the Mayas to flank me so we could do this together. But here's a little. We really are getting a full conclusion to the Ash / Vogue drama. This story started with Vogue and Vogue's journey, being an outcast, trying to find a way to bring the Klingon strength, and he ultimately does. All of his stuff is fully resolved. The lady of his life is fully running all of the Klingons. He's going to be in charge of Section 31. And I'm glad that he decided not to chase Burnham to the future. I'm really happy that he kind of recognized that as a person, he's still fully figuring himself out. So it's best for him and Burnham and the future for him to stay in the present, rooted in the present. Good for him. Good, healthy choices from Ash Tyler.
I believe it. All right. So I know we're not done. He's still bearded. Let's see if he's on. Is he on the Section 31 spinoff? That's a question.
He better be.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, he's on another show right now. Anyways, all right. Look. Thematics would not be complete if we didn't go into spoiler zone. And I know we just got to the end of a season. For those folks who haven't seen season 3 yet, this would be spoiler zone you don't want to go into. And just for one more time, we're going to ask Maya to doodle for us while we go into this. So we're going to take 2 minutes. So if you're listening on the podcast, you're going to give yourself 2 minutes for us to do this spoiler zone. And if you're watching on screen, then you want to wait till the red alert goes to green. All right, Rochelle, let's head into the spoiler zone.
Incoming transmission.
Awesome. Okay. Claudia, you were saying earlier you had some spoilers on things.
Well, this is my opinion about Non, because Non is set up in this episode to be so effing interesting. Her energy and chemistry with Georgiou, the weirdness of that yum. I was here for Non's character. And then in season 3, they don't do anything with her. She's not sadistic. She's not weird. She doesn't have a creepy sense of humor. She's not violent. I don't really notice the sports. Super disappointed. I see why the character goes away in season 3. Spoilers.
Okay, my mama. You got a spoiler zone topic? Yes, disappointment.
Yeah. So this is a lot about Stamets's entitled attitude in season 3 when he's like, "How dare you blast me off, even though I am a living key to a weapon?" Because he acts like we were forced to come with you. We were forced to be here. I'm like, no, dude. You made a choice. You came here because you wanted to be. So did everybody. But I just, the more I watch that, the more I'm like, side eye for Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I think my pickup here is just really excited about season 3. We were just talking before we went on air today that we just watched, some of us just watched the brand new season 4 trailer, and it already looks like there's some Quamalot in there. Like, I've just been thinking about Mama Burnham. I continue to think about, especially when we see in this episode, the way Burnham has to go through time and what happens when Burnham is in the time passage of passing time and just sparks and things. And I'm like, how did Mama Burnham survive ESA 4, leaving ESA 4 without her suit? And so I just, part of me gets caught up in the science of it. So maybe we'll find a scientist who can help me.
Red Angel. I'm just kidding.
There's no Red Angel card in spoilers. And I see that the time has gone.
Transfer of data is complete.
I thought that meant that maybe we could keep talking.
Yes, all good. Maya Chichi, welcome back into the room. We've been having some spoiler zone conversation, desires for what is to come, and thoughts on what has happened. But Maya, I want to welcome you back and say, do you have a doodle to share with us today? What were you doodling while we were talking? Ooh, get it. Yes. Tell us what you drew.
It's a tricorder, and I was curious if their tricorders are going to work in the future. How are they going to talk to each other? So, yeah. Tricorder.
Wait, is the tricorder what we talk with? It's the communicator that looks more like a flip phone, or is that also the tricorder?
Oh, you know
I
what?
The tricorder was a medical thing.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I really decided they were the same thing. Do they not? It isn't like an iPhone. It does all the things like a 7-in-1.
Translator. I don't know. It does lots of things. I know that it looks like a cell phone. I know that it was the very first thing I noticed and went ooh at the beginning of season 1 of Discovery. So I was just I was like, what's it gonna do in the future? In the future,
communicators flip open, and then tricorders look like tape decks, like old tape decks with and then they use the microphone as a scanner.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You mean I drew a
communicator then, right?
Yes. Awesome. I love it. Thank you for helping us unpack that for the newbies and the multiple generations of Star Trek fans in the room. I love it. And with that, those are our thoughts on Thematics Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 14, Such Sweet Sorrow, Part 2.
If you are enjoying this conversation, support us on patreon.com/TrekTable.
And now we are heading into our final Trek Table question of the season. What big questions did this episode leave you with? So welcome to the Ouroboros question, because it's a question about questioning. It's a question within a question. I'm asking y'all, what are your questions? Because I know that I watched this episode and I had a couple. I had a couple of big questions. I'm going to hold off on saying them, but you're fully allowed to be annoyed or curious. What are your questions? What were you left with? Being like, wait, what? How? Wait, why? How? What? Maya, did you have any big questions at the end of this episode where you were like, wait, huh?
I just thought it was really interesting how quick Nan, originally being from the Enterprise, just decided to be like, yeah, I'm going with you all in Discovery. I'm with it. And then also I'm just like, ooh, where are they actually going to land? Where's this? It never like works out exactly. It seems like because Mama Burnham thought she was just going back in time, and she ends up in the future. So I guess that's two different types of questions, but
those are good questions.
Yeah.
Dela, what are your questions?
I mean, I have question. I mean, I really would love to ask Michael, like, what did it feel like in your body to fly? I just wanted to have a dialogue with her about what does it actually feel like.
The
We've been watching,
the somatics
yeah,
of
the
time travel.
somatics of time travel. But also just, I think my other question is, I just don't understand. I was really surprised to see the Sarana come in the Baul fighters. Sarana's a priestess. I have no doubt a priestess could learn how to fly a fighter, but
Right.
I didn't seem to think that they had a lot of technology touch. So to all of a sudden show her as a squadron leader in a fight where I could barely keep track on screen, and I've played video games where you shoot things. How?
Well, okay. I think that this was actually set up. So we already know that the Kelpians have like really wildly good vision, and that like after they go through Vararhai, like all of their they're ready for battle, right? Like that's the entire point of their adolescent change. And you had me because I was like, oh, she's a priestess, but what did the priestess do? The priest and priestess are the only ones that have contact with the Baul. So out of the classes, who's the highest class Kelpian who would actually be trying to do some stuff?
Well, it'd be the priest.
But how much time has passed since they went through adolescence? Like has it been a couple of weeks? 2 months.
2 months is my guess. Because Kaminar was signal number 3? Yeah.
All right, that's fast.
I know.
That's really fast. 2 months. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's a good question. How did the Kelpians evolve so quickly?
Yes.
I have a question. But wait, before I go to my question, Maya Mama, what is your question?
I've thought really hard about this. I guess my question is, are you nerds that hated the Kelvinverse happy now? Look, it's fixed. It's fixed. Now leave me alone.
Hold on, let me do a lens flare.
I'm real mad that we didn't end with that one because now I've got my observation that's just like it's sloppy. It doesn't have a clean you just mic dropped us. That's a mic drop ending. Here's my observation. Y'all, how is Ash Tyler on the ship with Laurel and those other Klingons? And then the Klingons are like, yo, you're Ash. You're like, aren't you dead? I thought she killed you. She killed you, right? Hey, let's destroy the entire Klingon society now. Like that's how it was set up that he had to leave and their baby had to go away.
I have a quick answer. I think it's because before they were kind of attacking each other. Now they had like a common enemy. They're like, yeah, it's a good day to die. Who cares?
They don't care about court intrigue. They don't care about that stuff. They just want to fight.
All right, y'all, I'm just going to take a good helping hand of this hand wavium that you've just given me. I'm going to sprinkle it all over my question. I'm going to let it go. I'm fully letting it go. I let it go.
Yes.
It's a good day to die. What? Why am I bothered? Those shoulder pads. Why am I even asking any questions? And those were the Trek Table questions for this season 2, episode 14, Such Sweet Sorrow, part 2. Please, please, please join us in November when the Trek Table returns to discuss the brand new season 4, episode 1 premiere on November 18th, 2021.
Yes, and that November 18th is when the season 4 of Discovery premieres. We'll be back that following Sunday. But while you wait for us, if you're feeling like, but wait, Trek Table, don't go away. What can we do in the meantime? Here's the thing. Next Sunday, 10/17, we're gonna share with you a new segment called Ask a Woman of Color Scientist. The Trek Table co-hosts have assembled some questions, and we're gonna introduce you to an amazing woman of color scientist. So look out for that here on Sunday, 10/17 at 4:00 Pacific on Outside In Theater's YouTube channel.
We strive to hold space for Black, Indigenous, Brown women of color. Here are some resources that amplify and highlight the work of women of color, content creators, community builders, and world shapers.
Check out Sisters on Track, the Netflix original documentary. The film's social impact campaign, sponsored by Colgate Women's Games, brings the film's themes to life and focuses on empowering girls across 3 lanes of impact: athletics, mentorship, and education. You're invited to uplift and give gratitude to a mentor in your life by posting a photo or personal story using the hashtag #AnybodySeeTheDream hashtag. For more information on the campaign and to get free telewatch party guide, go to sistersontrack.com.
This Monday, October 11th, is National Coming Out Day, celebrating all of our LGBTQIA+ community. This is the 33rd anniversary of National Coming Out Day, and we want to celebrate and honor all the queer fam bam on Discovery, the characters, the artists, and the fans, of course. Thank you for being beacons. Shouts out to all the Trek Table fam who are LGBTQIA+. We love you.
October is Filipino American History Month. Celebrate with the Filipino American National Historical Society. This year, the Historical Society's celebration theme focuses on the 50 years since the first Young Filipino People's Far West Convention. These are viewed by many as the start of the Filipino American movement and the birth of the Filipino American identity. Follow FANHS on Instagram at FANHS_national.
Yes, and it just seems like it's this time of year we're going to connect to and celebrate all the things and all the intersectionality. In addition to National Coming Out Day and Filipinx American History Month, we also want to uplift all of our friends and fam in the Latinx community here in the United States as we celebrate the final week of National Hispanic Heritage Month. We recognize the achievements and contributions of Latinx Americans, champions who have inspired others to achieve. We're so grateful. We've been promoting some stuff on the Trek Table Insta. We want to share all the intersectional love with all of the women of color who are Latinx, who are Filipinx, who are queer, LGBTQI, and everybody. So if you want to discover documents, exhibits, films, blog posts, and more from the National Archives and presidential libraries that highlight Hispanic or Latinx culture, you can go to HispanicHeritageMonth.gov.
If you have a women of color creator that you want to amplify, let us know. Send us a DM on @TrekTable on Instagram or @Trek_table on Twitter. That is our signal boost for Trek Table episode 31.
Awesome. And thank you all so much for joining us for our 31st episode of the Trek Table. We can't believe it. And as is the case, even though this is the end of season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, we want to end it with our final thoughts for this episode today. I'm going to invite Maya. Will you go first for us? Your final thoughts on Star Trek Discovery season 2, episode 14.
Well, yes, I have mentioned before that Discovery has turned into my space novella for sure. And I'm glad we got a novella-style ending for Culber and Stamets. So dramatic, so beautiful, so lovely. You know, sad that it has to come at because Stamets, you know, it's like a life or death moment that sort of pushes you to make these decisions. But yeah, so beautiful. If I had any more tears, I probably would have cried when I watched it. But also the badass warrior women. I love them. You know, the ones that have their emotions on their sleeves, and some of them that are like, no, you don't get everything of me. Like Tig, like Giorgio. You know, we know they have multiple layers and complexities. And they handle business in their different ways. And, you know, it's not really about a either or thing. It's just like, here they are in different situations. And so, yeah, so it's been awesome. Exciting to see, handling business and, oh my God. And also just, I have to say, I'm glad that Burnham and Ash got to have that romantic goodbye kiss, because they were there for each other in an important moment in time, and I think it was sweet, and sexy.
Awesome. Thank you. Maya Mama, your final thoughts for Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 14.
I mean, I don't want to start a fight, but I just don't think there's anything hot about kissing your like neurotic ex.
Wait, isn't every ex neurotic? Sorry, aren't we all? Who are you gonna kiss then?
No, I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah, who are we gonna kiss then? I'm so excited for the next season. I'm so excited for all the Star Trek that we're going to be getting, like the Prodigy and the Brave New Worlds, and more Discovery and more Picard and more Lower Decks. And I'm just so excited, and I'm feeling super fulfilled, and I can't wait for more.
Awesome. Thank you. Claudia, your final thoughts on Season 2, Episode 14.
I love Star Trek because it lets me be my contrary self and critique, and also enjoy. So I will say, Pike said at the end of this episode, like, he expressed love for the Discovery crew, like that they were his family. I think he said that they were like, you were my family. And I was like, really? Like, family? Really? You were only there for a few months. It was a few months, and you've had a very long and storied career. All sorts of stuff has happened with you. So that feels like a lot. And it feels like stories like this are always doing that. They're trying to tell us a story that war bonds us, battle bonds us. War and battle are good because the good guys bond, and that's how we create these beautiful bonds. And it feels like it's low-key kind of trying to get me into some kind of nationalistic space that I don't think is good, right? Also, I think that they do things that are all about like work family. So they want me to map onto, instead of investing in actual personal bonds, they want me to map onto work bonds, the same thing I do with family. So I think that narratively, there's actually some toxicity in the stories that we absorb that are about how your work friends are your family. They're your family. And also, battle brings you close together. So there's my critique. Here's the thing I loved. The amazing arm shake that happened between Una and Cornwell. I love that Discovery fixed it. Roddenberry had a vision of the future, and his vision of the future was supposed to be better than what we were doing. These TV shows are supposed to be imaginative exercises, imagining something better for us. And in the 60s, they could not imagine women in charge. They just couldn't imagine it. So too bad for them. And I'm so happy that they were able to fix it for Discovery. I hope one day to have the kind of female leadership experience where towards the end, we might be able to do a handshake from the elbow, that kind of bond.
Okay. Handshake to the elbow. Yes, I will share some of mine. I just want to say thank you to all three of you. It's been a really fun season to just kind of dig into the show. And I'm grateful to everybody, because this is, when I watched Discovery, that was what I felt like I needed. I felt like I needed a place to come and talk about it. And I just want to say thanks to everybody for joining us. I think my final thought on this episode is just really having a moment of fulfillment around watching Michael complete this part of her cycle and her journey, being able to watch her discover the truths that she had built her life around, that some of them were actually wrong, that the whole reason her parents were on Daktari Alpha was not because she wanted to watch the star go supernova, but because they were there doing secret Section 31 things. And so just having these moments where I really appreciate that it wasn't just, I felt this season wasn't just about fixing or like playing needle and thread with the canon stuff and like how does this all fit together, but I really do appreciate that we got to watch this amazing woman in this particular part of her leadership journey undo a particular individual thought that no longer served her, to actually discover the truth of her power, to actually discover that she is not the responsibility hoarder. And her brother actually had to rectify and say he was wrong. Yes, the one big thing that is unique about all these things, the intersectional point is you, Michael, you woman of color leader, you person who is always ready to step forward and make the universe a better place. And I find such resonance in that. And like, we are in this moment where people are healing and discovering all these things about themselves in the face of odds that feel so intense. Even if the intensity is just we've been in isolation for several months, or maybe you are a frontline worker and you haven't been able to be off and you've been pushed to the limits. And what I love about Star Trek is that it is a place where we can discover what is possible, because we're going to imagine it first. We're going to write about it first. We're going to see the space daddies work it out. And then we're going to discover what it's like for them to be on the ship in the future with Michael Burnham, when she no longer has to feel like the responsibility hoarder. Although, spoiler, they still call her that. But, you know, so all of that for me is just to say, like, I just really appreciate all of the gifts of this season, all of the gifts and the bows of this episode, but also the open-endedness. And yes, all the women leadership we were talking about. And I will just say, not to belabor at the end of this woman of color space, but I do want to say I will miss Pike, because he offered us the opportunity to see a white cis hetero ally learning how to be a leader in conjunction with, in collaboration with women of color and diverse beings in his charge. And that he actually had to stop and listen. And the last thing I'll say, Claudia, is not a Star Trek fight, but an invitation to say, I remember him saying thank you to Owosakun and Detmer for saving him in that very first episode. And I think you're right. It's not just war that bonds us, but it is these life-saving, life-changing moments. So those are my final thoughts for this episode. I just want to say thanks.
And those are all of our final thoughts on Star Trek Discovery, Season 2, Episode 14, Such Sweet Sorrow, Part 2.
Yes, and if you are getting ready to watch Season 4 like we are, and you wanted to ask, hey, what does the Trek Table think about Season 3? Well, luckily you can visit our Trek Table YouTube channel and watch our Season 3 recap that we did in January of this year. So it is there available for you. Awesome. And we want to say thank you so much to everybody for joining us here at the Trek Table. Remember, you can visit our website, get first look at Trek Table questions, inside scoops, and more when you sign up at our mailing list at trektable.com.
Yes, so much gratitude. And you can find us, our Trek Table podcast, on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. Take us with you.
Like and subscribe to this channel so that you can get more Trek Table in your algorithms. YouTube.com/OutsideInTheater.
Like and subscribe to us on Instagram or Facebook at Trek Table, and on Twitter at Trek_Table.
Yes, and as we continue this round of gratitude, I just want to say thank you so much to these three beautiful humans on our screen right now. Thank you, Claudia Alec, Maya Chinchilla, and Maya Mills-Lowe. Thank you so much for showing up with this ritual and sharing your insights and thoughts with us today, and all the work you do before we get in these rooms together. Thank you. As we start to close out this ritual, I just want to acknowledge what we're holding Trek Space for. We're holding Trek Space for Burnham and all the folks who are actualizing their new truths. Holding Trek Space for hidden figures, for collectivity in the healing process, and we're holding Trek Space for the end, but also the beginning. Trek Table executive producers are Allison Dela Cruz and Luz Raminda Jadiwala, production coordinator Brandon Chang, artist coordinator and stream manager Ariana Michelle, OBS operator Rochelle Wasserman, podcast audio editor Alex Kahn, social media manager and chat moderator Isil Borlasa, and our social media associate Jimena Martinez.
Deep gratitude and thanks to Outside In Theater, with extra thanks to Alex Kahn, the Trek Table audio podcast editor.
Yes, and thank you to Francis Abe and our partners at Visual Communications.
Trek Table is a service mark of De La Projects, LLC.
Yes, and we want to say thank you so much for joining us for this ritual. Let's go ahead and take one more breath in together. Go ahead, breathe in. And exhale. And we hope that you will catch up on season 3. Check out our season 3 recap and get ready because we will be back November 14th as we prep for season 4 of Star Trek Discovery. Don't worry, we're going to hold Trek space for you until then. Have a great couple of weeks, folks. We'll see you live on 11/14.